of course, God changed him. God changed his heart and made him the leader of the Christian church. John. You think, well, what in the world is wrong with John? John was almost essentially Jesus' best friend. Was the disciple that Jesus loved. He had such a wonderful spiritual life. He wrote the book of Revelation. All of these great things. Started many churches. Preached the gospel. Was just a great man. But do you remember the early days with him and his brother, James? Do you remember them pulling Jesus aside and said, Jesus, I want you to do something for us? And then later on got his mama to do the same thing. Ask the same question. He just didn't get it. But James and John pulled Jesus aside and said, I want you to do something for us. Jesus said, what do you want me to do for you? And they said, when you go to your kingdom, I want one of us on your right hand and one of us on your left hand to rule with you. Oh, the arrogance. Knowing that this is God Almighty with them on earth, and yet claiming that they can stand with him and rule with him. Arrogance, assumptions. But John got past that and gave us a book that shows us what the end is to be. Paul, we all know Paul. Paul was probably the worst of the lot, other than David maybe. But Paul not only was against Christ initially when he was named Saul, but he was the one that gained authority to go and to put into jail or kill every Christian that he came across. This was Paul. But God changed him. And God made him one of the greatest missionaries that ever lived. Now, I want to look at some other areas to kind of bring out a couple of points. What are we talking about when we're talking about this race? Now let's look at a couple of places. Our next slide here is 1 Corinthians 9, 24 through 25. I want to read the scripture. It says, do you not know that those who run in a race all run, but one receives the prize? Run in such a way that you may obtain or win it. And everyone who competes for the prize is temperate in all things, or exercises self-control. Now they do it to obtain a perishable crown, but we for an imperishable. So what are we running for? This answers the question, what are we running for? We are running for an imperishable crown. We're running for something that's not just something that we can put around our neck or pin to our lapel. We're running for something that means so much more. That means something for eternity. But there are others who are running with us and against us. Others who want to take that from us. Now I want you to understand, this is not, when I'm running my race of life as a Christian, I'm not running against Miss Sewell here. I always pick on you. I'm not running against Jerry. There we go. I'm not running against Jerry. Okay? We're not running against each other. I'm running a race. Jerry's running another race. Okay? He's got that mile-long race. I'm just at the little sprint or something. I don't know. But I'm not running against him. But I am running against others who want to take my prize. I'm running against others who want to keep me from my prize. Other runners in our race compete for our eternity. What are those other runners? Those are the things that we talked about earlier that come into our lives. Those are our insecurities. Of course, the number one is Satan himself, the coach of the other team. And he has demons that represent insecurities, that represent that baggage that we talked about, that represent people who just want to stop us, that want to try to convince us that no, this is not the way, this is not the way it should be, it is this way. You see my wisdom, you understand what I'm saying. I can convince you of this because of my worldly understandings or my science, my whatever else. I convince you this is the way the world is, not that way. These are the other runners that are going. And it says here that every runner prepares, every runner exercises self-control. Every one of those runners are doing their best. They have one goal in mind, and that is to keep you from the prize at the end of that race. To keep you from getting to the end of that race holding strong. I won't say what the next point is, so I'm not going to do that. But they're trying to keep you from getting this prize. They don't want you there. And they strive against you. My friends, we have to strive. What did our first verse say? It says, lay aside every weight and sin which easily ensnares us, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. We've got to run with endurance. We've got to run in the long haul. We've got to keep going. We've got to strive. We've got to do everything we can do to overcome these that are trying to stop us, because I promise you, they're doing everything to stop you. The army of hell is doing everything it can do to keep you with all that baggage hanging on you. To keep you getting angry at every little thing that happens or occurs in your life. To keep you from just focusing on the grace of Jesus Christ, the love of your brothers and sisters, and the mission that is set before us. There are other runners in this race, and they are trying to stop you. So stand. No, don't stand up. Keep running. Endure. Move. Run. Get up when you fall. And keep going. The next one is in 2 Timothy. 2 Timothy 4, 6 through 8. It says this, "For I am already being poured out as a drink offering." Now again, this is Paul. All of these scriptures come from Paul. And at this particular point, Paul is telling Timothy, I think I'm getting close to the end of my life. I don't know how much longer I've got. He says, I'm already being poured out as a drink offering. The time of my departure is at hand. He says, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Finally, there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will give to me on that day. And not to me only, but also to all who have loved his appearing. My friends, the goal is to keep the faith. What did he say? He fought the good fight. He finished the race. He has kept the faith. What is the goal? We know that we want to run the race. The race is our life. And we know the prize that we're seeking is that eternal prize. But what is the goal? What is that line that we pass? We know it is at death, but what is that? And that is that we get it to the end of our lives and we look back and we say, I have kept the faith. No matter what has happened, no matter how many times I've fallen, no matter how many runners have come and tried to keep me from getting to the end, no matter what obstacles were laid before me, no matter what happened in this world, I got to the end and I kept the faith. I kept the faith. This is what Paul says. At the end of the race, the goal is that I have kept the faith. Our last scripture, Philippians 1, 3 through 6. He says here, I thank my God upon every remembrance of you. Again, this is Paul to the Philippians. Always in every prayer of mine, making requests for you, all with joy. For your fellowship in the gospel from the first day until now. Being confident of this very thing. That he who has begun a good work in you will complete it until the day of Jesus Christ. My friends, we run a race. We run a race every day of our lives. In that race, what is the action that we do? Do we take long strides? Yeah, the strides that we take is our attempt to keep the faith, to keep moving forward, to accomplish the things that God has called us to do. To not just live our lives as some do, seeking the things of the world, seeking money, seeking things, but to go out and to reach people for Jesus Christ, to present the gospel message to those that are in need, to feed those that are hungry, to clothe those that are naked, to visit those that are in prison and in the hospitals and other places, to love and to serve mankind. And live such a life that those important things that when we get to the end of our lives, that we can look back and others can look back. And when we're sitting here in our coffins one day, and someone is preaching our funeral, and our family comes and our friends come, they're standing here, they're looking at us, and they can say without a doubt, I remember their life, I remember when they messed up, I remember when they fell, I remember all these things, but I can tell you right now, they got up, and they continued on, and they showed this community Jesus Christ through how they lived, and they finished the race, they kept the faith, and there's no doubt now that they're winning the prize. That's who I want to be when I'm up here in this coffin. I want to be the ones that they know without a shadow of a doubt that I knew Jesus Christ because they saw it. They saw the faith every day of my life. But you say, Brother Mike, but what about those things? I'm a preacher, but I'm just like you. There are times that I get down. There are times that I mess up. There are times that I get discouraged. There's stuff in my past that if I told you, you might fire me. There's no telling. I mean, I have all of this same stuff on me, all of this baggage, all of this mess that I didn't even have. And I get down sometimes. I get discouraged sometimes. I get insecure sometimes. All of these things, just like you do. But my friends, the last part of that verse, grab it, Bible here so I can read it instead of trying to quote it. Looking unto Jesus, verse 2. It says, but looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of God. For consider him who endured such hostility for sinners against himself, lest you become weary and discouraged in your souls. Me as a pastor saying to you, I've lived, and I've got a lot of the same stuff you've got. I suffer the same things you suffer. I hope that's an encouragement to you, and together we can strive on together. But let me tell you something. What's more important than that is that the God of the universe, the God of all creation, came down in human form. The God who created you and me, the one who is so much greater than us, we can't even imagine who or what he is, because he's so much bigger than us. But yet he came down, confined himself in a human body, and confronted the temptations of this world. Confronted every temptation that you and I would confront, and overcame them. But then, even overcoming, he suffered hatred from those who he wanted to love. He suffered abuse, beatings. He was spat upon, he was cursed, and he was hung on a cross. Not for any crime that he had done, not for anything bad, but just because they didn't like the way he said it. They didn't like the way he said it was. They think it's another way. But he suffered that. Why would God do that? Because he loves me so much? Well, yeah. It said right there, for the joy that was set before him. Here's the neat thing. A lot of people say the joy that was set before him. The joy that was set before him is that he would die. When he died, he'd be raised again, and then he would go and he would sit at the right hand. No, he was already God. Okay? The joy that he would receive would not be going to heaven or sitting at the right hand of the Father, because he was God already. He was already there. That's not the point. The joy that was set before him was, can anybody guess? The joy that was set before him was you. That old song, when he was on the cross, I was on his mind. You remember that song? That was the joy that was set before him. Not getting off the cross, not ever. He gladly suffered all that he suffered for the joy, for Jesse, for Jack, for Roger, for Amy, for you, and for me. We are the joy. The reason he suffered. So my friends, even though we have all this baggage, even though we suffer all these things as he did, the joy that is set before us is not just heaven itself, though that's a great joy too, but it's Jesus, the one that loved me so much, that he would save me from all of this mess and take me with him forever. That is the call. Or excuse me, that is the prize. The goal is to stand firm in the faith. Be encouraged to run the race to the end, knowing that the prize before us is an eternity with Jesus Christ, the one who loves us so much. If you're able, if you would stand with me just a moment. We're going to take just a moment and just ponder some of the things that we talked about. Maybe talk to God, tell him what's going on in your life. Maybe ask him to help you to do away with that baggage, that stuff that hangs on, that keeps you from running the race every day. Say, God, take all that, put all that away, and I might go forward for you. So let's take a moment just to talk to God. Dear Lord God, I thank you. Lord, I thank you for Paul, who, Lord, put our lives in this context.